Thank you everyone for joining. We're here today with Nick from peopleIX. He's going to show us the People Analytics tool. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks a lot, Jessie, for the invite. Very
Yeah, I'm
excited.
really excited to see this tool. And who better than Nadine, who is a HR expert and a neuro-inclusive consultant, to join us and ask all the questions, because she's also a HR tech investor. So she knows tech. She knows what people are looking for when it comes to HR tech and the questions, especially around data. So thank you for joining as well.
Thank you for the intro and thanks for the invite as well, Jess.
I'm excited to have Nadine here because she's also one of my friends, and she's also great. So it's just always fun for me to have these conversations together. So we're going to kick off with Nick giving everyone a little bit of an overview of what peopleIX is, and then we can jump into the demo after that.
Okay, super cool. Yeah, thanks a lot, Jesse. I'm Nick. I'm one of the co-founders of peopleIX. With peopleIX, we are building a people intelligence platform. That means in the end, we connect to all the different HR data sources that are within your organization to bring it all together into one unified people data model that you can then actually use to run analytics on that. So in the end, we want to help HR teams, but also the business teams to use data more often, to getting insights into their organization, and then having more strategic discussions on how to improve the overall people management, etc.
Talking about data, everyone's talking about HR needs to be more data driven. That's definitely a plus. But on the other side, I know from so many companies they have, I don't know, 5 to 10 different tools they need, and every tool has their own data. What to do with all those different tools? Can I combine it within your tool, or how does it work?
Exactly. It's a super great question, and it's often the first starting point, right? Because you have, I don't know, you have a recruiting system, you have an HRS system, you have engagement, performance, yada, yada, yada. And then the process is you're getting CSVs out of that, you are bringing it into Excel, it crashes, it has bad data quality, and the entire process really sucks. And you are stuck with that for a couple of days or weeks. And once you push this kind of report, it's already outdated. So it's a really kind of fucked up process. But maybe let me also show you, Nadine, how we can solve this in our platform, so you can really see how easy it is in the end to combine also the different data points. And I guess it's working
We
now.
can see it. Yep, we can see it.
Awesome.
Looks good.
Cool.
Definitely take us through. Let's have a look at what this tool
Yeah,
does.
exactly. So I'm starting here in our platform in the data management section because that's the natural point of entry when you're thinking about how to combine all your different data. And you see it's not only an integration problem, but we are also taking care of your data quality. We help you in mapping it into a unified people data model, building categories, etc. But concretely to your question, what we see with organizations is they have a HR tech stack that looks very similar to this, right? You have for example, a Personio or HiBob HRIS system. You have your recruiting system, for example, like Greenhouse. You have your payroll managed in Datev. You have Leapsum, etc. But we also say, hey, there are so many data points out there that we want to make it as easy as possible for you to connect different systems, but also to bring in probably the data where you do not have a system for. So on the one hand, if we talk about the integrations, we can easily integrate to, I mean, we can quickly have a look into this list from Workday to SAP, and it's all in self-service where you just click on that, you provide the API credentials, and then you just plug and play and have it in our platform synced. But what is also super valuable to our customers is the following. It's not around the standard integrations, but it's having systems which do not have standard integrations, or some Excel files you probably have for site locations, for subsidiaries where you do not have an entire HR system in place. And we always have the chance to upload, for example, an Excel file around absences or learning and development or your performance, etc. And you just put it into our platform, and we are taking care to connect it to the entire people data model. And this is super important because then you have actually a single source of truth. I know that a lot of people are claiming it, but this also means that you need to make sure that CSV Excel files are able to put in the system so that you have the entire view on that. And we are taking care of that here.
And Nick, because we all love data, but we also have dirty data a lot of the time in HR, like data that's not quite perfect. Does your system have anything where it's flagging like, you know, this is data that we've got, but this is data that's kind of inconsistent or missing, or is there any kind of like data checks or something like that?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
yeah.
That's super important because most companies also, for them, it's a black box. The data quality, right? They are like, hey, it's super cool solution, and I really want to get into that, but I know my data sucks, but I don't know how to fix it because it's a kind of black box. And we want to shed some light here. So it's often also part of the onboarding, but then it's also part of our platform that you can continuously look into data health. And what we actually build here is that we perform several data quality checks on the different data sources that we have access to. That means we look for missing values, but we also look for sanity checks. So, for example, are there people where the job title says HR manager, but the supervisor is, for example, in growth or in marketing? Then there would be a kind of mismatch and say, hey, is it really true that this people are managed by this department, etc. But here, for example, you see, hey, we have several issues, for example, with the birthday, or for example, with contract type and department. And we make it very easy for you by also having a list ready of all the employees where we see these kinds of issues. And you can just easily fix it here directly in our platform. So, for example, if I hover here over Victoria, and I know, hey, in this case, the birthday is missing. The birthday is missing, I can just easily say, okay, I know she's, I don't know, from the 1st of September 2000, I save it and the data quality issue is fixed. And this giving you a lot of transparency.
Can I interrupt there? Does that push it back into the other system?
You can, if you want. To be very fair, most of the organizations are only doing it one way, that we have the reading access and can analyze the data here. But you can still use our data quality management here because this is then connected to the employee profile. So if I would click here, it opens up the employee profile in your HRIS system, for example, Personio, HiBob, etc. You fix it there, and then some minutes later, it's gone here in peopleIX. And that's also how a lot of companies are using it.
Okay, so it can do it, but a lot of companies set it up slightly differently.
Yeah, it could have an effect on the payroll, and that's why a lot of companies say, hey, I want to really focus on that in my core HR system, but we can make it transparent here. And it's not only in this section, but imagine you are, for example, within your reports, etc. And I just really want to quickly show it to you. You don't have to fix everything at every time. But if you, for example, know, hey, I need to provide here, for example, my headcount reporting, I can just go to this metric and see, hey, there is a check mark, it's on green, because the data points that are required for this metric, they are all complete and they are all sanitized, they're okay, so I have a check mark on that. But for example, I'm not sure if I have a good one here. Here with employees in probation period, I see that there is an exclamation mark, which says, hey, there are 9 issues here. So this is something I would not share right now with business leads or whatever it is, but first go here and fix this data quality issue. So we want to make it as easy as possible so people can really get started and see then the power of analytics.
And speaking about
And now that,
sorry, Nadine, you go.
now we have everything in one single point of truth. But speaking of GDPR, for instance, or any other data sensitive matter, how about different roles so that not the TA managers can see all the other payroll information, for instance? Can I customize roles? Is there any possibilities?
Yeah, it's a super important topic, to be honest, because we want to design a platform where you can really collaborate with different teams. So the entire idea about the peopleIX platform is not that you have one power user who is then sitting there and just doing analytics. We want to democratize it, not only in the HR team, but also to team leads, to department heads, etc. And therefore, it's a crucial part of our platform that you can design different roles and can very greedy tell what the people could see, etc. But let me give you a glimpse how it looks like. So here in our organizational settings, you can just go there and we can create roles. So here on the left-hand side, I have the chance to set up, for example, a role, and we can call it a team lead or team leads. It doesn't matter. And now you see the several categories where you can give access to. So for example, if you say, hey, all the engagement data, it's fine, the people data, performance data, etc., that's cool. And in every category, you can then also apply several data filters. So let me, for example, give you a look here where you have the data filter, and we can be very customized here. I can very easily say, okay, the person should only see from the direct and indirect reports. And then it's clear, okay, if I log in as the head of marketing, I only see data from my team in the entire platform. But I can also go in and say, okay, I select the team, and the team should be, I don't know, brand management and account management. And I can also say it should only see data from our office in, I don't know, Cologne and Berlin. I can also go here and say it should only, I don't know, for my cost center, which is 002, whatever it is. So you can be very granular and very flexible so that it really fits how you structured it in your entire organization. And then I just save the role, and then it's super easy to send out the invitations. I can put the role to the invitations and then have ensured that all the people only have access to the data that I have set up here.
That's good. I feel like these things are really useful because what we don't want is the data and people team to just stay in people team, because it's actually organizational data, and it's really empowering for leadership and managers to have that data. And that's why everyone's always asking us for it. But a lot of the time we're not able to get it that quickly. And so this, for me, I mean, I love these tools. I mean, I love all HR tech, but I really love people analytics because I feel like it's organizational data that really makes a difference and enables you to make decisions. And also empowers your, middle management and upper management to make the right choices. Nick, what I'd love to see is what kind of reporting, because if I have the option to have a role as like a middle manager, I want to know like what kind of reports can I see, what kind of data can I get, what is it that people are going to actually see from the data that's in there. And obviously you also want to show us your AI, data analyst too. So yeah.
Yeah, very, very happy to give you a glimpse here. So let's start maybe with the old world, what we all understand, what we know, etc. And this is actually what you see here, right? It looks very much like a business intelligence platform, so you can slice and dice the data. We have hundreds of pre-built metrics already in here. You can scroll through, I don't know, from attrition to your, for example, recruiting dashboard, whatever it is. But this is really not what also business leads, etc., really want to grasp out of that. In the end, what they have, that it's a question. It's a question, and they want to have the answer to that. And now also in the era of AI, that's why we built Tira, our AI people data analyst. And you can really imagine like you have now access to a person who is giving you answers to the questions that you are having. And we can also give it a try here. And let's imagine you are, for example, the CFO or the CEO. And one topic that we currently see a lot coming is around the sick rates, etc. Right? So everyone wants to understand, hey, how is it going? What are the trends? And also how we are in the benchmark with our industry and things like that. And I can just give it this question here to Tira and say, hey, can you please analyze our sick rates over the last 12 months per department. What are the insights and trends? And what is now super cool is that Tira first checks all the permissions that you are having. And it could be, obviously, that you are getting a response and say, hey, we are super sorry, but the permission model doesn't allow you to see these kinds of data. But that's always the first check. The second check is it now goes into the platform and is looking not only into the sick rates, but it can also analyze all the trends over time and giving you this in natural language. So it really feels like a little management report that you're getting out of that. And also very happy to show it to you. So it now took some seconds. It's now building also some charts, but I think it's done now. And here we see now how it's structured. So we see, yeah.
Question, you mentioned benchmark as that you cross-track. Where is the information or the data from that coming from?
I come to this in a minute, Nadine. Let me first show you, because you obviously first always start with your internal data. And then the second question is always, okay, how is it compared to the benchmarks out there? But we will go there. But let me maybe quickly walk you through. So we have the key insights. It shows you where we have departments, where there is a lot of movement in the data. So here it says we have customer success, project management, where we have a sick rate, which is 8 to 10%, which is quite high. We see the peak with 17.9% in product innovation, etc. So it gives us just an overview about what is happening, etc. And that's a very cool thing. It's building up the chart. We don't have to have a, I don't know, Power BI license, etc. This Tira is really building the stuff for us that we need. And now that we have everything in place, typically the second question is always, hey, how is it now compared with the benchmark? And you have seen here that we have a deep research functionality. The problem now with the deep research is it will take up to 5 minutes. But what you would just easily do is you can just say, hey, can you give me the benchmark on the sick rate for companies with, I don't know, headquarter in Germany. Please compare to our internal data and provide your output in English. The reason why I need to prompt with English is because typically when he sees, okay, it's headquartered in Germany, then he will give the entire report in German, but we want to have it in English. So now I missed to toggle on the deep research functionality. Let's give it a try. Now again. So this now takes, to be very fair, like I would say 2 to 3 minutes. But I also did it in the morning that we can already have a look into that so that you have an idea how it looks like, etc. So let's maybe jump into the previous one. And you will see we have more or less, I was also just asking for the benchmarks here on the sick rate, etc. And now we have an entire benchmarking report that is coming out of that. So we have the executive summary, which is telling us, hey, I also looked for example, Techniker Krankenkasse, so all the health insurer which are publishing these reports. This is where the data coming from. Also here the German Federal Statistical Office, etc. And then it gives us a walkthrough. So we have the national average. We see how it develops in Germany. We have the sick rate by industry to sanitize it also with our industry. We have it by region, etc. And then again, he's looking into your internal analysis, and he's giving you the list. Hey, these are the departments, these are the sick rates, etc. And the same also for your locations. And then he's giving you a kind of comparison and says, hey, your company's sick rate is significantly lower than what we see currently in Germany. But we also see, for example, here with project management and Constance, this is below or close to the benchmark. So if you have some improvements, then it's more or less in this area. And then in the end, he's also giving you some actionable insights and recommendations. I mean, he now says, hey, your overall sick, it's excellent, so there is nothing really to monitor. But we have some outliers here, and these are the two departments in project management, and we have the location in Constance, where you should closely look for that. You should check for the workload, the team dynamics, stress levels, etc. And why he puts here stress levels is because he understands from the health insurance reports that mental sicknesses have increased a lot over the last couple of months and years. And that's why you want to go after that, for example, or that's maybe one action you can take. Yeah, so that's very cool. He also gives you the limitations, etc. And then in the end, you have the entire list of all the data which the HR data analyst has used. And you can just click here and then have the report from the German government, or you have the report from TK Krankenstand, etc. And that's typically a task, and we have talked to several of our users and customers. That's something where they are, I would say, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, with the exactly same research question. Just say, hey, can you build a corporate health report and benchmark it to all the external data sources? It's a task that costs them 2 to 3 weeks. And this is, to be honest, something that we provide here with our data analyst in 3 minutes, 4 minutes. I mean, you see it's still loading here on that side, but maybe by the end we will see it's exactly the same.
Nick, that's pretty powerful. I mean, if you can save, 2 to 3 weeks on these kind of tasks. I think what's cool is that it's very easy to use. Like, you just type your question and away it goes. It'll tell you if it's got the data, or if it doesn't. It'll tell you, I think I even saw in there, it says we couldn't find any data on this, and it
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Like, it'll tell you all the bits. What's interesting maybe is like, or maybe what is like your most used part of the system from your customers? That's maybe also interesting to know. Like, what do people like the most about this, or what do they feel is the biggest benefit?
Yeah. So, I mean, right now we also started as a people analytics company, and you have seen that we have a lot of metrics and dashboards pre-built. So a lot of companies are obviously using it for their live HR data dashboards in the end. So we see a lot of people who just design their own dashboards here. I mean, we can also take a quick look into that. For example, let's go into the edit mode, and then they would say, hey, I have seen your headcount chart. This is pretty nice, but we also want to report on, I don't know, we can make the headcount per age group or something like that, right? So you just design the charts that you really need. And we can just also do it here now in the demo. You can select from all the 200 metrics that are predefined here, from recruiting to retention, but let's now stick to the headcount. Then I just say, okay, let's make a breakdown in the age group. Bar chart is fine. I could also go with a line chart or whatever it is. I apply the changes, and then I have built my report. And the cool thing is that you can now use obviously the filters that are applicable here, etc. But this is also something which you can easily share. So if you don't want to give someone access to the entire platform, that's something that people are used quite often to just share, putting the email here and say, okay, then it's now in your inbox. It's a magic link, and I can actually start to use working on the data, etc. and giving some lights here. What we now see, so Tira is now released for, or in place for, I would say, 2 to 3 months, is that people are now adopting a lot into that. And they have a lot of questions, which is super, super interesting to see. I mean, we already went into the sick rates, etc. But there are also like easy questions that are quite operational, but super important for a good employee experience. And this is like, I don't know, who has birthday this month or something like that, right? So you can just really ask any kind of question to the tool, and he is giving you what you actually need. And that's also what we currently see more often when it comes to budgeting and also planning for the next year, etc., that you are in the compensation review process. So people start to ask, hey, can you make a deep research on all the job levels, all the salary ranges, salary benchmarks, and can you compare it to our internal ones, etc. And this is then actually super powerful, because not only HR is able to do it, but also like the business leads here, and then they have a common ground on that. And it's a way, way faster process that you are having, because you actually have the connection between business leads and HR in the super important processes.
Thanks, Nick. I wish I had it when I was back working operational in HR. But one question came to my mind. Everyone's talking about AI and how to be cautious regarding where is the data stored. I know that you're a German company, but where exactly do you store Tira?
Yeah, so the most important thing is that we locally host the foundational AI models that we use for Tira. So that means your data is always safe on our servers. And even though you can actually use the power of AI, it's not sending the data back to, for example, OpenAI or Gemini or Anthropic, etc. Because we have these models and installed them on our server infrastructure that we are having here in Germany. And that's a super, super important thing, because what you can actually not do is taking your CSV out of your HRS system, put it into ChatGPT and running these kind of analytics. It's missing the entire logic. It has nothing to do with data privacy and data security. But here you actually can use the power where AI is super, super good at. And if we would look into the jobs to be done of AI, where they are out-competing humans by far, it's data management and analytics. It's not in writing texts, etc. There are some interesting studies out there, but AI is super, super good in calculating things, seeing trends, etc. And we can leverage this power here on your data model without giving the AI models access to your personal data.
Wow, that's good. That's a big benefit for European and German companies, for sure. Fantastic. I mean, we're almost out of time. That went quick. I always find these go so fast. But that was really, really great deep dive. I'm, again, like what Nadine said, I wish I had this when I was back then, not creating like 4,000 different sheets and worrying about all the data and is it clean, and cleaning rows and rows of data, and, you know, putting manual checks in place through God knows what I did in the past, but I would have loved to have something like this. I'm sure a lot of companies out there who are watching this would love to have something like this too. So, with that being said, thank you for showing us and joining us today, Nick.
Thanks
And
a lot,
thank you,
Jessie. Was super,
no
super
problem.
nice.
And thank you, Nadine, for joining us as well, asking questions. And we're now going to finish up. If you would like to know more about peopleIX, you can reach out to Nick or his team, or you can find out more about them on stacked.tech. And of course, if you are interested in HR tech, you should follow along, because we do this every week with a new product, so you can see things before you jump into any sales cycles. So make sure you subscribe and follow up on YouTube as well if you're interested. Thanks, everyone. We'll talk again soon.
Nice. Thanks a lot.